That's right. Welcome in, welcome back to I got some bad news for us Notre Dame fans edition of the Always Irish Show. As always, you can find the show on YouTube. Do hit subscribe if you haven't yet. I'd appreciate that. Give the video a thumbs up if you approve of the content upon its completion. I'd appreciate that as well. Hit the notifications bell. That way you'll be alerted every time new Always Irish episodes drop. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at JKZND4. Emails, alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only, anywhere you want me, you can get me. And when Notre Dame loses and you feel that sting, give Always Irish a ring. 312-988-15. So, here's the deal, guys. I somewhat feel guilty about the clickbaity title, but not really, because I'm dead ass serious about the topic. Okay? Here's the deal. Season's over. No more games to worry about and move on to next week. So with more time, I've just kind of been sitting back processing all that's happened. It's been a busy last month, a chaotic, hectic last month within the Notre Dame program. Looking at all that, the bowl game, and then now things are settling down a little bit, and I'm looking at the future. I've come to a major conclusion. I alluded to it earlier this week. It's not something I love, but I feel like it's a reality. This loss may be the best thing that ever happened to Marcus Freeman. I've come to appreciate Oklahoma State exposing the weak areas of our program in a sick, painful, dark, but I would argue healthy way. It's not that if we had won, Marcus would have thought everything's perfect. It's just that the way this game unfolded has made certain things absolutely crystal clear. And I think that's beneficial. The bad news for Notre Dame fans that I'm referencing, the gap to get from the top of the very, very good into elite is wider than any of us wanted to acknowledge between where Notre Dame currently sits and that area we're trying to get to. I am targeting 2024, 2025. And I'm talking about being elite, not being good, not being pretty good. I'm talking about a window to elite. Marcus Freeman isn't here to do what Kelly just did. The mission is different. I'm not talking about being good or really good, beating most of the teams you should beat. You have more talent than done with that. Already did it. I'm talking about being elite and winning things that matter. Winning playoff games. I'm targeting 2024, 2025. If it's earlier, I'm thrilled. But looking deep at some of these position groups, some of this roster mismanagement, some of this recruiting mismanagement has dug us into a big hole. Oh, John, how bad can it be? Look at we won this many games. Again, I'm not talking about being really damn good. I'm not interested in that. I'm talking about elite. So the framework of all this isn't we're a disaster. We're going to go 4-8 next year. No, I'm talking about our window to getting to elite. Not interested in anything else. Been there, done that. I know nobody likes that time frame window that I'm talking about, being that it's going to be probably three to 4 years away of that timing window. I understand nobody likes that, and I don't like it either. I hate it. I hate it. Here are some of the things that I want you all and me that we need to think about together. So, first, look at the schedules. Obviously, everybody knows you open up at Ohio State next year. But in 22 and 23, you have Ohio State, Clemson, and obviously USC we have every year. So in 2022 and 2023, you're going to have all three of those teams. You could say Clemson isn't what they used to be. It's still a good program with a lot of talent and a good pedigree, okay? So you got Ohio State, Clemson, all repeated, both years, 22, 23. Here's the other thing. In 2023, Ohio State, Clemson, and Southern Cal are all in the same 30-day period. There is a bye in there, but our three biggest teams we play are in the same 30-day window in 2023. I expect some tough lessons to be learned for everybody, by everybody. Marcus, the new coaches he brings in, the players. There's going to be some growing pains going through this schedule the first couple years. Marcus is getting settled in and established. Okay? I promise you, stick with it. Everybody will be stronger on the other side for it. All right? So that's number one. The schedule is tough the next couple years if you're trying to be elite. Here's number two, and it's a way bigger deal than number one. Roster construction. Since this bowl game was unique in so many ways and different dynamics, I've been really interested to read all I could about how professional Notre Dame people are looking at it in terms of, I'm talking about people who do recruiting full time for, Notre Dame or one of the big sites, people like that. And I really want to get a feel of how those people are viewing this. Multiple recruiting, roster stuff, scholarship count guys. They've been talking about major, multiple years to dig out of type issues in multiple position groups in the Notre Dame program. Multiple years to dig out of where some of these position groups are. Now, it's been mirrored because where we're good, we're really good. And it's enough to beat almost everybody on the schedule. Again, if any of this sounds nitpicky to you, it is. I'm talking about being elite. Not really good, not pretty good, not very good. Elite. Okay? So it should be nitpicky. It is hard. I am asking that you're great in every position group because that's what elite teams look like. So, yes, that's what I'm asking for. And if it sounds like a lot, it is because it's hard to win. Not as hard as Kelly makes it, but it's damn hard to win. All right? So, a bunch of these people that spend way more time than I do on recruiting and scholarship count, how many years of eligibility everybody has, all these different things. They're all saying there's some deep multi-year issues in a lot of these areas. Secondary, wide receiver. We're going to get help at linebacker coming in, some of that. Some of these guys are talking about some of the defensive line depth at certain positions. I kept hearing and reading the people that follow this full time say Notre Dame's been taking too many projects. They went on to name 10, 11, 12 kids from the last couple cycles and went down the list and named them and went project, experiment, transfer on the team that's never going to see the field. That was a repeated theme. A repeated theme. And it's stated that the top teams have guys that play year one, year two, they're contributing. Year 3 and 4, they're greater in the NFL. Okay? You cannot and will not win a title taking projects, experiments. Maybe this guy will develop into something. Nope. No more, Marcus. You cannot take projects and try and think you're going to be elite. Contributors only from now on. Early contributors only from now on. Some of these areas are going to take multiple years of appropriate and proper recruiting to get caught up where we should be. There is no quick fix for this at all other than hard recruiting. That's it. The secondary problems we have, that's multiple recruiting cycles that you're going to have to deal with that to get it where it needs to be. Wide receiver, same situation. Like, you can't end up in a year where you need 3 and 4 and you get 1. You can't have a year where you have no, I forget what year it is, what recruiting cycle year, but there's one of these recent classes that has 0 wide receivers in it that's at Notre Dame right now. No. That's an absolute joke. So there is no way to make up for multiple years of mistakes in 1 year. It's just not possible. It's going to take multiple years of elite recruiting to undo some of this damage in the areas that are holding us back from being elite. I'm not saying holding us back from winning 10 or 11 games or catching a soft schedule and going 12-0. No. You could do that. We've proven you could do that. Brian Kelly's proven he could do that. Not what I'm talking about. That is not what Marcus Freeman's here to do. He's here to get this to the next level. Elite is the goal. So, number one, tough lessons are coming because those schedules are pretty tough the first couple years of the Freeman factor era with so many changing parts, new young quarterback, all the new coaches, all that. So, tough lessons to be learned those couple years, I think. And if not, great, we're at a schedule. So that's great too. That's great too. If it doesn't take as long as I think it will. Right? So that's number one. Number two, roster construction. So many of these areas were mismanaged so poorly for so long in recruiting and development. It's going to take multiple years. Here's number three, the quarterback situation. The staff's still clearly unsure about Buckner. And if they weren't, he would have been playing more. And when he did play, he would have been doing more. That's a big red flag to me. I'm nervous. Some people aren't, say he's going to be fine. I still have other people who say he can't throw a pass and hit a target. So I don't know. But the way the staff has handled Buckner so far makes me nervous. Because they've shown no confidence that he could go in there and run the offense. Not his niche package, the offense. That makes me nervous. This position needs to be solved for once in my entire existence in this program. This position needs to be solved. Solved with an elite player. Here's the other thing. No statues. I'm done with statues as quarterback in Notre Dame. I am absolutely done with that. Anybody we get from now on needs to be a dual threat. I need them to be great passers and able to run and do what they need to do. In the modern age of college football, the way Notre Dame is, the statue quarterback isn't going to work. You need a guy that can do it with his legs and his arm. I'm done with those statues. It limits everything. Any broken play is a sack and a loss. You get a dual threat guy, any broken play could be a touchdown or a first down. So, no statues. Dual threat needs to be elite. I don't care who it is. He needs to be a stud. In the program, Buckner surprised everybody fine. Recruit somebody else, Angeli, whatever. I don't care who it is. But you have to have a guy you're winning against the teams you shouldn't be winning against because of. We are so far past just being glad we're beating the teams we have more talent than. No, that is over. Okay, that is over. We have bigger goals now, bigger bars to reach now. So I did not fully realize, I don't think, how far the roster has been from truly competing for a title in terms of depth, rotational depth, talent development, all those areas. There's a lot of work to be done, and it's going to be a multi-year effort of elite recruiting effort to get some of these groups to where they could compete with elite teams. Very good, sure. But we're past that. I'm not interested in being very good. We got to be past that. So it's interesting. Brian Kelly and Marcus have the exact same job title at Notre Dame. Kelly was the head football coach. Marcus Freeman's the head football coach. Same office, same bronze nameplate, changed the name, but it's two totally different jobs. Kelly was brought in to right the sinking Notre Dame ship, build a stable, respectable program that was in disarray. Marcus was not brought in to do that mission, establish a culture, bring stability to the program. No, he's here to get it to the next level. That should be crystal clear. This process is going to take time. Marcus will find his comfort zone, figure a lot of this stuff out. But moving forward in the short term, the plan's clear. Number one, get the staff settled. I want recruiters only, like Marcus said. Now, here's what people are already starting to talk about. Marcus got up there and said, if you're not an elite recruiter, we don't have a place for you. But now they're bringing Harry back, and Harry's not known as an elite recruiter. So is Marcus full of crap already? Couple things here. One is, depending on who you ask, you're going to get different responses in regards to what kind of a recruiter Harry is. I think that's very interesting. I'll listen to some people that I trust, that I think are in the know, and they'll say he just had no interest in recruiting. But once the guys are in the building, you're pumping out Martin, Ronnie Stanley, Quentin Nelson, the best guard in the NFL. So I don't know where that truth is. Other people are saying he's not a dog on the recruiting trail, but if he finds a guy he likes, they're going to be great. So it's focusing on less guys, but the guys he gets are going to be a Quentin Nelson, a Martin, a Ronnie Stanley, that type of stuff, right? So it's tricky. It's tricky with him. I don't know exactly who to believe on that recruiting with Harry. But the one thing you know is the offensive line at least is going to be mean. At least they're going to be mean. So we'll see how that shakes out. So number one, get the staff settled in. Heavy on the recruiting angle wherever possible. Number two, recruit, recruit, recruit. Marcus knows more than any of us do. All the weak areas we just talked about, him and everybody else need to get out there, pound some pavement. And number three, for the short term, I guess you have to build out an offense that can maximize Buckner real fast. Real fast. So, you know what a part of me wonders? And I know I'm an idiot. I don't know nothing. I'm sitting in my basement yelling into a rectangle. Part of me wishes Notre Dame would go into Columbus next year with Buckner as the quarterback. And whether we get the ball first or they do or whatever, a part of me wishes they would run out a full Navy-style option offense the first couple drives. See what you could do running out there, a full multiple option, and just see what happens. See how Ohio State reacts to it. And I'm not saying do that the whole game, but if you could catch them not expecting that or prepping for it at all, and run down the field at the horseshoe and score one time or put 10 points on the board doing that before they figure it out. I'm just saying, I'm open to anything. I'm open to anything that would put us in a chance with a young, inexperienced staff and players to have a chance to leave the horseshoe with the win. So if you got to get a little tricky, I'm down with it. I'm down with it. So get that staff settled, get everybody recruiting, and then you got to work on this offense and build something out that can maximize what Buckner can do, minimize what he can't do, whatever. So let's let Marcus settle in, let the team settle in, take their lumps the next year or two, come out on the other side of it, battle-tested, battle-scarred, have 2 to 3 years more. Marcus Freeman's recruiting and talent in the program. That window in about 3 to 4 years is where I'm targeting Notre Dame to be elite if they're going to get there under Marcus. And if the recruiting goes how I think it's going to go. So if you'd hope this would be instant, I just don't think that's possible. And that's frustrating. I don't love it either. I hate it, in fact. But really looking at what elite looks like in some of these position groups around the country, and then looking at ours and matching them up, you ain't there. You're just not there. And you're not even close in a lot of big time areas. So you're going to win a lot of games. That's no longer the bar, winning a lot of games. Marcus was brought here to get us over the hump into elite, period. Period. So we're going to have a little patience with this. But I still strongly feel that it'll all be worth it. We'll all be happy we went along for the ride. It's just not going to be instant. There's too many holes from the previous regime. There just is. So I'm going to finish you with this. Similar to a famous quote from Dan Devine and Rudy. Nobody, and I mean nobody, can undo 11 years in 1 month.